lawsuit.
Which, again, isn't that just a set of symptoms? Without a ME, still is.
Oh no.
That gets to a root cause.
No, they had pretty good tests back then.
But I mean, that
But
she's saying it sounds like another disease.
What I feel like happens,
What's
Eric,
the root cause?
is that nobody knows the cause and nobody knows the solution. They just give a diagnosis and you live with it.
Oh no, that's what common doctors do.
So ME
But
has a cause?
at the research level, both ME and CFS were based on the evidence of very solid immunological findings. You know, researchers, they don't care about symptoms because they're nondescript. They don't lead to anything. They want to see hardcore immune evidence. And both ME and CFS had that.
They just don't know. Okay, so when you're saying it has evidence, you're saying that the bodily function or the tests that come back, we see there's a problem.
Exactly.
So that's the evidence. But still, how are we so satisfied with just evidence, but no solution or no cause? Like, we're just...
So did they give a root cause to it?
Did they give a root cause to
CFS,
ME?
whatever. So what caused the CFS?
In both
They
cases,
forget
in both cases, ME and CFS, because the research was never done, nothing was ever resolved.
that. So they never did actually figure out the root cause of what it could be.
Right.
And now they use chronic fatigue syndrome all the time. If somebody is tired and they don't have any other reason why, they say, oh, you have chronic fatigue syndrome.
They do it all the time. Common doctors use this diagnosis.
Well, they did that from the beginning. If you read Laura Hillenbrand's essay, A Sudden Illness, the moment the chronic fatigue syndrome nomenclature hit the news, doctors started saying, well, I have patients that are fatigued. That must be chronic fatigue syndrome.
That's right.
And they didn't give a damn if it was based on an outbreak. They didn't care if there was a new virus. They didn't give a hoot if Dr. Cheney had found cell flow cytometry abnormalities, or if there was collapsed Epstein-Barr virus nuclear antigen. They just threw all that out and started acting like chronic fatigue syndrome is nothing more than symptoms. When I guarantee you that none of the researchers that were involved would have lifted a finger to create a new syndrome on the basis of symptoms. So I tell people, you know, when you talk about symptoms, they don't mean anything. Forget it. Fatigue had nothing to do with why chronic fatigue syndrome was coined. Nothing. That was just a cover to bury the illness so that it would take heat off the Chamber of Commerce.
So that was the cover-up.
That was the cover-up. Worked pretty good.
Yeah. Apparently it still works. I think they've been using it. How many years ago was that? And we hear people in our sphere of influence, friends and family, who have gone to the doctor and said chronic fatigue syndrome.
Well,
Fibromyalgia.
just think for a moment. You know, the people at Tahoe were so desperate, they were vandalizing Dr. Peterson's car. They were threatening us to get out of town. I mean, they were angry people. Their livelihood, the economy is being destroyed. They were blaming us. What would have happened if the CDC said, oh yes, this is myalgic encephalomyelitis, an outbreak of a very serious neurological immune disease? They would have killed us all. There would have been blood in the streets. I mean, they really, I was grateful that initially the CDC gave it a stupid name and a dumb definition, because it took the pressure off us. As soon as they did that, we weren't getting threats anymore. Everybody started pretending that nothing had happened.
When you say us, what do you mean?
The 160, the sick people in Incline Village.
Oh.
Oh, there were people that
were just patients of those two doctors.
Yeah, part of the reason there were so few is people were terrified to come to a support group. If their friends and neighbors found out, they would ostracize them. If they're
afraid that they would get it.
Right. If their employers find out, they would lay them off. They wouldn't fire anybody because, you know, that's kind of politically incorrect, but they would find reason to, you know, just make you lose your job. If
people
you
were that freaked out?
Oh yeah, if people were well enough to continue working.
People.
Oh, this was mind-boggling. You had to be there. It was scary as hell.
Wow.
I mean, everybody thought we were all going to die.
Wow.
And when they saw the cell flow cytometry, the lack of B cell function, lack of natural killer cell function? The technician who did these tests said, oh my God, there's going to be a lot of cancer. These people have no immune function. So just imagine the technician looking at the people who, before chronic fatigue syndrome was coined, said there's going to be a horrendous rate of cancer. They predicted it before the syndrome was coined, and the CDC still can't see it.
Wow.
But in the original 160, 1 out of 3 of them has cancer.
So that really was.
Whoa.
Well, that actually sounds like. Well, what is the cancer rate in the United States anyway?
Not 30%.
Yeah, it's not 30%.
No, it isn't. It is the second, no, the third most.
30% of those people got cancer?
Yep.
That's significant.
Well, you're lucky.
Well, when you look at the effects of long-term chronic active Epstein-Barr virus, it's got a 50%